Western Province Education Department 2020 Western Province Education Department එකේ paper එක. First question එක carbohydrate not present in ripened fruit. What is the answer? Glucose තියෙනවා, fructose තියෙනවා, sucrose තියෙනවා, ශ්‍රීන්ෂා, lactose. Right. So what is the answer? Lactose. Lactose කියලා දෙයේ තියෙන dairy products. කිරි ආහාර වල තමයි ළමයි lactose කියන දේ තියෙන්නේ. So පළවෙනි එකට උත්තරේ lactose. Fructose, sucrose and glucose කියන තුනම තියෙනවා. Question number 2. The mollusca among the organisms. Where the organisms are the mollusca? What is the organism? What is the organism? Right. Good. Leech නෙමෙයි ළමයි. Starfish කියන්නේ echinodermata. Starfish echinodermata. Screenshot. Starfish echinodermata. Leech I think garden. Which phyla? Comment. Leech, Udalla. Good. Right. Leech I think good annelida. Right. Thorn base sector I think octopus is the mollusca. Octopus තමයි ළමයි මෙතන ඉන්න mollusc. And sea urchin. Sea urchin idea මොකටද? To which phyla? Phyla? Sea urchin. To which phyla? Good. Echinodermata, right? Sea urchin belongs to phylum Echinodermata. Next one. Third one. A solid liquid homogeneous mixture. What is the solid liquid homogeneous mixture here? Sugar, salt mixture, solids. Salt and water mixture. Yes. Salt is the solid, water is the liquid here. So salt and water mixture is the solid homogeneous. Homogeneous the compression is same. Compression is same. So salt and water mixture ka tamai utana homogeneous mixture. Sugar and salt can solid heterogeneous. Kerosene and salt mixture kila kiyanne solid liquid heterogeneous. Copper and zinc mixture. Copper and zinc mixture ka mokada lana apne alloy ekak vidira consider karot copper and zinc odan niya mixture nan kiyot apne heterogeneous, but if it is given as an alloy copper and zinc වලින් හැදෙන alloy එකේ මොකක්ද කියන නම? What is the alloy? What is the name of the alloy? Good. Brass. So brass is the alloy made up of copper and zinc. If it is taken as an alloy, we can say that it is a solid homogeneous mixture. Otherwise, in this scenario, they have not mentioned that copper and zinc are arranged as an alloy. So copper and zinc in here is a heterogeneous mixture. Question number 4. Incorrect statement about hydrogen gas. Right. What is incorrect statement? Slightly soluble in water. That is yes. Hydrogen slightly soluble in water. Next one. Density is less than right. Density is the normal air density. Oxygen density, nitrogen density, normal air. Hydrogen nitrogen hydrogen density normal air but oxygen density normal air nitrogen slightly below same normal air density same next one. No odor and color, yes. Hydrogen gas or colorless and odorless. Same as in oxygen, colorless and odorless. Same as in carbon dioxide, colorless and odorless. So what is the answer here? Non-combustible gas. Hydrogen gas is a combustible gas. Oxygen can support of combustion. When oxygen is there, we can ignite. support. You can give a flame. Support of combustion. CO2, non-support of combustion. Hydrogen is a combustible gas. Hydrogen is a combustible gas. So that is the thing that you need to remember. Oxygen is support of combustion, carbon dioxide is non-support of combustion, and hydrogen is a combustible gas. Combustible gas. Combustible gas means when hydrogen is introduced into a glowing splinter, we can hear a pop sound. Pop. What is given instance where carbon dioxide, this property of carbon dioxide is used. Given instance, carbon dioxide special property is it is an unsupport of combustion. Given instance where this property is used. In which scenario? Fire extinguishing, right? Fire extinguishing mode, we can use carbon dioxide so that the flame will go off. Next one, sixth one, specific characteristics of a mammal is. Right. First one, four-chambered heart. That is correct. Homeothermic, yes, that is correct. Presence of external earlobes, yes. Presence of pentadactyl like limbs. So what is the specific characteristic of a mammal? Specific characteristic of a mammal. What is the most specific characteristics of the mammal given here? Presence of external earlobes. Because four-chambered heart is common with class Aves. Homeothermic is common with class Aves. Aves mean the bird category. And presence of pentadactyl limbs is also common with which class? Presence of pentadactyl limbs is common with which class? Come in. Presence of pentadactyl. Yeah. Amphibians. Good. Amphibians. Amphibians also possess pentadactyl limbs. Right? Amphibians also possess pentadactyl limbs. So in here, the answer is presence of external earlobes. External earlobes is very specific to mammals. Apart from that, presence of mammary glands and sweat glands also can be taken. Question number 6. Question number 6, answer is 2. Question number 5. The part used by Robert Hooke to observe a cell for the first time. What is the thing Robert Hooke used? Cross section of a beehive. Cross section of a beehive. Sorry, cross section of a cork stopper. Answer 1. Cross section of a cork stopper. In that scenario, he saw the cells as in a beehive shape. Cork tak තමයි ගත්තේ කියන්නේ. අබයක් තමයි ළමයි මුලින් මෙයා ඔබ්සර්ව් කරේ. ඒකෙදි තමයි එයා දැක්කේ මේ පොඩි පොඩි කුටීල තියෙන cells as in a beehive shape. නීවලයක් වගේ කුටීල තියෙන. Right? So he observed the cross section of a cork stopper, and in that scenario he observed the cells as in a beehive shape. Question number 7. Sifting, winnowing, and floating in water are few mechanisms used to separate components of mixtures. The physical property common to all three methods. What is the physical property common to all three methods? Sifting, winnowing, and floating. What is the physical property common to all these three? All these 4. Size of the particles කියන එක නැහැ ළමයි. ඒක different, right? The physical property common to all three methods. Size of the particles is not common. Volume also not common. So out of density and surface nature of the components, what is the physical property common to all three methods? All three methods based on the density. All three methods based on the density. So according to the density differences, those physical methods are being carried out. Right? So the answer is for the question number 2 is density. Because in winnowing, in floating, in water, sifting, all the three mechanisms carry the idea of the difference of densities. So the answer here is density of the components. Next one, question number 8. Name given for the process of deposition of a fertilized egg within the wall of the uterus. What is the name that we can give it? Implantation. So when in the exam, if they are where does the implantation take place, you need to write in the uterine wall, inside the uterine wall. So another question that is coming in tandem with that question is, where does the fertilization occur? The fertilization occurs in the fallopian tube. Fertilization occurs in the fallopian tube. So fertilization means the meeting of the male gamete and the female gamete. Male gamete as in sperm and the female gamete as in the ovum. So the fusion of those two gametes will lead to the zygote, and that process is happening in the fallopian tube. So fertilization happens in the fallopian tube, whereas the implantation happens in the uterine wall. Implantation happens in the uterine wall. Another question that I am asking is, what is the structure which connects the fetus and the mother? What is the structure during the pregnancy period? What is the structure which connects the fetus and the mother? What is the structure? Umbilical cord, very good. That can be asked in the exam. Umbilical cord. And there's another structure associated with the umbilical cord. What is that? Placenta. Placenta. It's also some sort of an organ. Placenta. Through placenta, the substances exchange without exchanging the blood. So umbilical cord connects the fetus to the placenta, actually the uterine wall. So all the nutrition goes through the umbilical cord, and initially it passes through the placenta. Next question, question number 9. The scientists put forward a method to determine the offspring in F2 generation. Right? Who is the scientist? The scientist put forward the method to determine the offsprings in F2 generation. Who is the scientist? Is it Mendel or Punnett? Most of the Mendel did. Is it Mendel or Punnett? Method what is that? You are drawing a specific square. What is the square? Punnett square. So that specific method was introduced by the Punnett, a scientist named Punnett, so that the square is named as Punnett square. The answer is Punnett. Determine the offspring in F2 generation. My example, capital T simple T with capital T, capital T. First is taking place. Capital T here, simple T here, capital T here, and capital T here. So what Punnett told was, using a square, we can find the offspring genotype. So in here, first square, capital T, capital T. In here, capital T, capital T. In here, capital T simple T, and here, capital T simple T. So you are getting 4 Doruses, and we can determine the genotypes correctly. So in here, capital T, capital T. In here, capital T, capital T. In that scenario, capital T simple T and capital T simple T. So all are same. So the method was introduced by Punnett actually. Punnett. So if you ask, who is the father of genetics? Who is the father of genetics? Gregor Mendel. Gregor Mendel. So in here, the answer is Punnett. Punnett introduced to find the method to find the genotype in the F2 generation. Punnett. Next question. Electronic configuration of X plus ion of an element is 2, 8. What is the period and the group of the element? Right. X plus ion is 2, 8. So in here, the proton is in excess compared to the electron. So X valence is 2,8,1. So when one electron is removed, we can get X plus. Similar, Na plus, sodium plus. So they are asking the group. What is the group? Group 1. They are asking the period 3. So number of electronic shades correspond with the number of periods, and the number of electrons in the outer shell correspond with the group number. Group 1 and period 3. That's the answer. Group 1 and period 3. Now I will be asking a question like this. There's iron. Why 2 plus? And the electronic configuration of that ion is 2,8,8. My first question is what is the period? And my second question is what is the group? What is the period and what is the group? There's a cation or a positive ion of Y2 plus, and the electronic configuration of that specific ion is 2,8,8. So I'm asking, what is the electronic configuration of capital Y? What is the electronic configuration of capital Y? I mean, what is the period and group? Not the electronic configuration, what is the period and what is the group? So this is relevant with calcium, Ca2 plus. So Ca means 2,8,8,2. So when we give 2 electrons, another from capital Y, when we remove 2 electrons, we are getting Y2 plus. Y2 plus. So the initial presentation is 2,8,8,2. So there are 4 electronic shades. That means the period is 4, and the number of electrons in the outermost shell is 2. So the group is 2. Next question, mass of 2 moles of oxygen molecule. 2 moles of oxygen molecule, right? Oxygen molecule means O2. So the relative molecular mass of oxygen is 16 into 32. The molar mass should be 32 grams per mole. So they are asking, what is the mass of 2 moles of oxygen? This is a formula. Number of moles equal mass divided by the molar mass. So you know the moles 2, you know the mass, you don't know the mass, and you know the molar mass of oxygen molecule. Molecule means O2 stage, not single level. 32. So what is the mass? 1 mole is relevant to 32 grams. So 2 moles is 64 grams. The 2 moles of oxygen molecule is relevant with 64 grams. That is the answer. Question number 12. Dot and cross diagram of a certain molecule is given here. Symbols are not clear. Elements suitable for P and Q respectively. In the figure, dot cross diagram is given. Dot cross diagram is given, as in this. 2 crosses, cross dot, cross dot, cross dot. So cross dot is actually relevant with a bond. So I am indicating this as a bond. So dot cross, 1 dot cross means that is a bond. You are getting 3 Qs, Q, Q, Q. So capital T is relevant with what? Its value should be definitely 5 or 3. I mean the outer shell should contain 5 electrons. 1, 2, 3 for the bonds, and this is the lone pair. So this is matching with nitrogen, and the given molecule is matching with what? It is matching with ammonia. Right? 1, 2, 3 bonds, and now lone pairs in Q. So this is relevant with hydrogen. Q is hydrogen and capital P is nitrogen. In nitrogen, the electronic configuration is 2,5. So 5 electrons can be used, 3 for the bond and 1 for the lone pair. So in question number 12, the answer is 2. Question number 13, statements of students regarding the reaction is given below. So hydrogen peroxide is dissociated in the given equation. So what is this reaction? H2O2 is given below. So what is this reaction? What is the reaction? This is a decompression reaction. Decompression reaction. Is a given equation is balanced. The given equation is not balanced. We need to add 2 here. So if 2 is added here, there are 4 hydrogen and 2 into 2, 4 oxygen, 2 and 2 here. We need to add 2 here. The given equation is not balanced and can be used to produce oxygen. That is exactly correct. Oxygen is produced here. So with the dissociation of hydrogen peroxide, water plus oxygen is produced. So in the production of oxygen, we can use several components. One is KMnO4, potassium permanganate. One is potassium chlorate. And one is potassium nitrate. And the other one is H2O2. H2O2 means hydrogen peroxide. So in the production of oxygen, hydrogen peroxide, and the earlier given equation was not balanced, so I balanced the equation, and this is a decompression reaction. So what is the answer? Simple A and simple screen share. Simple A and simple B, simple C are correct. A and C are correct. This can also be termed as dissociation reaction, right? Dissociation. Cadena potassium dissociation. 14th one, method of nutrition where organisms produce their own food is known as. The organisms are producing own food, that is autotrophic. So when considered the nutrition, autotrophic means producing food by their own. Chemototroph means production of food with the use of chemical, as in cyanobacteria. Other one is photosynthesis, the most available term, mostly used term. Photosynthesis is the production of food by the use of sunlight. So photosynthesis and chemosynthesis. Chemosynthesis is relevant to the chemotrophs. Photosynthesis is relevant to phototrophs. Right. So apart from those two categories, there are heterotrophs which depend on autotrophs. Heterotrophs. Humans are autotrophs. Other animals are autotrophs. They depend on they are heterotrophs. Human is a heterotroph. Other animals are heterotrophs. So they depend on other autotrophs, as in plants. So autotrophs and heterotrophs. Symbiotic means they are mutually exchanging benefits. Mutually exchanging benefit, as in lichens, algae, and lichens, algae, and fungi. I think the formation of lichens are a symbiotic relationship. Parasitism or parasitic means as a mosquito biting us. So mosquito will be benefited by getting the blood, but humans are not benefited. So that is parasitism. Symbiotic means both the parties are getting benefited. Autotroph means the production of food by their own, and heterotroph means depending on other. So question number 50. According to Newton's second law, right? Newton's second law states that force is directly proportionate with the acceleration, and acceleration for the mass is inversely proportionate with acceleration. So this is what Newton's second law is saying, and from these two expressions we are getting F equals ma. Force is directly proportionate with the acceleration, and acceleration is inversely proportionate with the mass. So from the combination of these two, we are getting F equals ma, and this is the Newton's second law in a nutshell. F equals ma. So what is the answer? Unbalanced force directly proportionate to acceleration. So the answer is 3. First step. Unbalanced force. This is correctly termed as unbalanced force. So unbalanced force is directly proportionate with the acceleration. The other aspect is acceleration, or the mass is inversely proportionate with acceleration. Inverse proportionate, and acceleration is directly proportional to the unbalanced force. So for question number 15, the answer is 3. Question number 16, blood vessel through which blood flow with highest pressure. What is the blood vessels? That means when considering the heart, there are 4 chambers, and the largest 2 vessels are the aorta, and the other one is pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery should have the strength to go to the blood for lungs. So these are the 2 largest vessels. So out of the 2, pulmonary artery only needs to accommodate blood for the 2 lungs, but aorta should carry the blood from head to bottom. So which vessel should have the maximum pressure? Aorta or pulmonary artery? It should be aorta. From head to bottom, aorta should accommodate the transportation of blood. So the vessel with the highest pressure is aorta. It is very thick. The wall is very thick in order to accommodate a good pressure. The pressure should be maintained, otherwise your head won't be getting enough blood, or your bottom won't be getting enough blood. The question that I'm asking is, if the pressure is low, if the pressure in aorta is low, out of head and the lower part, which one will get affected more, head or the lower part? Which part is more tendency to get affected, head part or the lower limb part? Definitely the head part. Because head part, you are traveling against the gravity. For the lower limb parts, for the lower parts of the body, you are traveling with the gravity. So head part is the most vulnerable part, that the blood flow will get minimized. That's the most vulnerable part, and actually the most important part. So a good pressure should be maintained at the aorta level, so that blood can go from head to bottom. I mean brain to lower limbs. So in this, the 16th question, superior vena cava brings deoxygenated blood from head and the upper part of the limbs to the right atria, and pulmonary artery carry out deoxygenated blood to the lungs. Inferior vena cava brings deoxygenated blood from the bottom part of the body, from the lower part of the body to the right atria. And one specific large vessel is missing here. Pulmonary veins, they bring blood from lungs to the left atrium, so that they can go to the left ventricle and they transport through aorta from head to bottom. So purified blood is bringing from lungs to the left atrium by pulmonary veins. Question number 17 includes glands only belongs to endocrine system. What are the glands? Includes glands only belongs to the endocrine system. What are the glands? Definitely spleen is not an endocrine gland. Salivary gland is not associated with endocrinology. Liver is not associated with endocrinology. So what is the answer? Pancreas, pituitary, and thyroid. Those are the 3 organs. Pancreas, what are the 2 hormones? Insulin and glucagon in pancreas. In thyroid, thyroxine hormone. And the other one is pituitary, luteinizing hormone, follicular stimulating hormone, then growth hormone, all those stuff are secreted from the pituitary. Question number 18. Magnesium oxide 10 gram contains 6 grams of magnesium. Find the mass fraction of magnesium in magnesium oxide. So magnesium oxide plus magnesium is a mixture here. So magnesium oxide you have 10 grams and magnesium you have 6 grams. So they are asking the mass fraction of magnesium in magnesium oxide. So out of the 16 grams, 6 grams contain the mass of magnesium is 6. So what is the mass fraction, Lamai? 6 divided by 16. And the simplified version of this is, we can divide it by 2. So 3 over. Total mass is 16 grams. And the mass of magnesium specifically is 6 grams. So what is the mass fraction? Out of the total, 6 is magnesium. So the mass fraction is 3 over 8. Select the answer with slow reactions. So in order for a reaction to be slow, the surface area should be low. That means the particle size should be more. The temperature should be low. In order for a reaction to be less reactive, the temperature should be low and the concentration should be low. And there shouldn't be any catalyst. So what is the correct combination here? No. They are asking for the slow reactions. What are the slow reactions here? Rusting of the iron, definitely a slow reaction, right? Food digestion is a slow reaction. Yeah. Ripening of fruit, that's a slow reaction. Digestion process it takes time. And rusting of iron, yeah. Some iron will take months to rust. Some will take around 1 to 2 days to rust. So the favorable factors, as in soils, acids are provided, even nail can rust in about 3 to 4 hours, but it is still a slow process. But comparative combustion of firewood, quick process. Then burning of gunpowder, yeah. Exothermic reaction, very highly reactive. Burning of petrol, obviously, quick reaction. Burning of gunpowder, obviously, quick reaction. Acid-base reaction, yeah. From the acid-base reaction, we are getting a salt plus water. That means an neutralization reaction. So that is a fast or quick reaction. Question number 20. Acceleration according to the velocity time graph. What is the acceleration? According to this velocity time graph, what is the acceleration here? 5, 10, 4. So in this scenario, the uniform velocity is here, or a constant velocity. That means no acceleration. The velocity hasn't changed. So the acceleration is nil, no acceleration. But in this scenario, definitely a uniform acceleration. Uniform acceleration is taking place. So the acceleration has increased from 0 to 40. So final velocity is 40 and the initial velocity is 0. So acceleration has increased to 0 from 0, 40 from 0. And it took 5 seconds. The velocity change divided by the number of seconds, 40 divided by 5. So what is the acceleration? They are just mentioning. Anyway, if we are to find the value, the acceleration is 8 ms minus 2. But when considering the MCQ, the answer is question number 2. Velocity change divided by the time. So 0 increased to 40. So finally is 40 and initially is 0 divided by time. So 4 divided by 5, 8 ms minus 2. So the acceleration is 8. So the answer is question number 2. answer is the step number 2. And question number 21. Main change that take place in air that enters the nasal cavity. What is the main change? When we inhale, air comes from the outside through the nasal cavity to trachea, bronchus, and into the 2 lungs. And you are getting alveoli at the end. What is the main change that takes place in air that enters the nasal cavity? The main change that taking place, the air that enters the nasal cavity is heating and humidification. That's the main process. The air humidifies and heated so that it passes easily through the lungs. So the main thing is heating the air above the body temperature, and the other one is filtration of waste materials in air. That comes second. So to me, the important point is heating of air above body temperature. Actually, it should be coupled with heating plus humidification. Cooling of air is wrong, drying of air is wrong. So the heating of air above body temperature is the main one. And maybe you can take an answer as filtration of waste materials, but to me, the main is heating. Heating comes first, then the filtration comes. Filtration is also important, but in here, in every inhalation, filtration doesn't comes into action, but heating comes with every inhalation. Above body temperature, yeah, above body temperature can be taken. That's the main change. අපි දැන් තියෙන ටෙම්පරේචර් එක චූට්ටක් රත් කරලා තියෙනවා යා. මේසර් එක. Question number 22. Color change by a strong acid which with indicators pH paper, litmus paper and methyl orange respectively. Strong acid. A strong acid pH paper what color? Red color. pH paper red color, strong acid. Litmus paper. Blue litmus turning into red color. Litmus. Methyl orange. What is the color change? In acids. Methyl orange. What is the color change? Very good. Red. Red color. Red color. So what is the answer? Red, red, red. So acids can be easily found by the pH papers, by the red color, by the litmus, blue to red, and by the methyl orange one, red. If it is given as a weak acid, the pH paper won't show a red color. It will be somewhere around yellow. If it is given as a weak acid. But in this scenario, the question mentioned as a strong acid. So the answer for the pH paper thing is red. If it is given as a weak acid, that is yellow. Question number 23. Value of 50 Celsius temperature in Kelvin. Now, the thing that you need to know is we can get a Kelvin value by adding 273.15 in the ideal circumstances, but for the calculation easiness, we are adding just 273 for the Celsius. So Celsius 50 means Kelvin. The Kelvin value is always higher than the Celsius. Remember that the Kelvin value is always higher than the Celsius. And it is higher than Celsius by 273. So what is the Kelvin value here? 320 Kelvin, and Kelvin is the standard unit of measuring temperature, not Celsius. The standard unit of measuring temperature is not Celsius, it is Kelvin. Right. You can do one or two more conversions. Just tell me what is the Kelvin temperature relevant to minus 30 Celsius. These ones. And tell me what is the Kelvin temperature relevant with 142 Celsius. And tell me what is the Celsius value relevant with 202 Kelvin. Just use this formula. So the answers are if the Celsius is minus 30 Celsius, the Kelvin value relevant is Kelvin minus 30, 276, or the Kelvin value relevant is 243 Kelvin, right? Minus 30 Celsius means the Kelvin value is 243. Then, if the Celsius value is 142, what is the Kelvin value? 142 plus 273. What is the Kelvin value? 2 plus 3, 5. 4 plus 7, 11, right? 415 Kelvin. Kelvin 450. The other thing is the Kelvin value is given now. Kelvin value is 202. We do not know the Celsius value. So what is the Celsius value? 202 minus 273. So minus 71 Celsius correspond with 202 Kelvin. Minus 71 Celsius correspond with 202 Kelvin. Just remember this formula. And the other thing that you need to remember is the minimum temperature that universe can exist is minus 273 Celsius. That means 0 Kelvin. 0 Kelvin means minus 273 Celsius. That is the least temperature that can be accumulated in the universe. That can exist in the universe. Least temperature that can exist in the universe is minus 273 Celsius. Right, next question is question number 24. Correct statement related to the pressure at points A and B when drinking with a straw. Right. A diagram is indicated here. The straw has been put. First, the person sucks normal air. So when sucking the normal air enters the mouth cavity, and the pressure in this position becomes low compared to this. So from high pressure to low pressure, the flow of the liquid happens. So initially, a rush of air particles comes to the mouth. So the pressure suddenly becomes very low in this place, and then the liquid comes through the jug or the vessel to the mouth. So what is the correct statement? Which pressure is greater than capital A? Pressure at capital B is greater than capital A. Otherwise, this won't be happening. Pressure of capital B should be greater than capital A in order to flow the liquid in a pressure gradient. In order to create a pressure gradient, the capital B pressure should be high compared to the pressure at capital A. Right? In order to create a pressure gradient from high to low pressure. Question number 25. A mass is given as 8 kilograms and the velocity is 5. So what is the kinetic energy, Lama? Kinetic energy means half mv square. Half. What is the mass? What is the mass? 8. Right. Thank you. Velocity 5 into 5. So what is the kinetic energy? 4 into 5, 20, 20 into 5, 100 joules. So what is the kinetic energy? Here, 100 joules. 100 joules is the kinetic energy. You just need to apply half mv square. And when considering the potential energy, you need to apply mgh, mass into gravitational acceleration into height. But in here, just half mv square. And definitely the mass should be in kilograms. If it is given in grams, you should convert it to kilograms by dividing the gram component by 1000. Here, half into 8 into 5 square, 100 joules. Vijay, rheostat is a variable resistor found in the lab. Current flow through a circuit can be controlled using it by changing the resistance. Which factor affect in the resistance is changed in a rheostat? Which factor? The rheostat, which factor? It is indicated as this. So which factor is modulated? Material we can't modulate the material because the same material is used here. Temperature we can't. Just adjusting here. What is the change. That's the length of the conductor. The answer is my length of the conductor. The length of the conductor changes. What will happen if the length is increased? Resistance increase or decrease? What will happen if the if the length is increased? The resistance is increasing or decreasing? Very good. When the length increases, the resistance increases. It is directly proportional. Another factor which affects the resistance is surface area. If surface area increases, what will happen to the resistance? It will decrease. Remember that if the length increases, the resistance increases. If the area increases, the resistance decreases. So this is directly proportional and this is inversely proportional. When considering the resistance, when the length increases, the resistance increases, and when the area increases, the resistance decreases. This is inversely proportional and this is directly proportional. 27th one. Consider the following statements regarding photosynthesis. Solar energy is fixed in food. Carbon dioxide is released as a byproduct. No. What is a byproduct? Oxygen is a byproduct. Oxygen is a byproduct. My main product is glucose. In photosynthesis, the main product is glucose, whereas oxygen is a byproduct. Oxygen is a byproduct. Next one. Main product is starch. What is the main product? Actually, that is not starch. The main product is glucose. So, which statement is correct out of the three? Only A. Only A is correct. Solar energy is fixed here. Solar energy is fixed. The energy coming from solar energy has been stored in as in food. Right? That solar energy is converted into food energy. That is the thing happening in photosynthesis. Solar energy we are getting, and we are converting it to, actually not we, the plants converting by the chlorophyll in a series of action in the chloroplast, they are converting solar energy to food. So the solar energy is fixed as in food. That is correct. Simple is the correct one. Oxygen is the main byproduct, and main product is not starch, it is glucose. Next question. What would be the minimum value for x if the object moves toward the direction of x force? This is 40, this is x, this is 60 Newton, and this is 20 Newton. What would be the minimum value for x if the object moved toward the direction of x force? The object should move towards the x force. So we take the forces in this direction to the left side. You have 40, you have x, and you have 20. 40 acting into this direction, 20 also acting into this direction, and x is also acting into this direction. But 60 in the opposite direction. So in order for the object to be active here, those forces should be equal. But there is x force. What is the minimum force command that should be applied in order to move this object in the direction of x? 1 Newton. At a තිබ්බොත් හරට වඩා ලොකුයි. ඒ ඇති. අඩුම එක ගන්න. ඒකට ඒවත් හරි. 5 Newton ඒවත් හරි. 20 Newton, 4 Newton, that those are also correct. But they are asking for the minimum one. So if they are asking for the minimum one, 40 plus x plus 20, that is 60 already here, plus x and 60. This one should exceed. So the minimum value that can be taken as a whole number is 60 watt. So the minimum force that is required is 1 Newton. Question number 29. Animal tissues specialized to carry out functions such as absorption, perception of stimuli, and secretion. What is the tissue? For the absorption purposes, perception of stimuli purposes, secretion, what is the tissue? Epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue. Perception of stimuli. In the tongue, the outer part is the epithelium. In the nose, there is epithelium. So they have receptors which can get or perceive stimuli. That is epithelium. One part of the function of the epithelium, and the other is absorption. Food is absorbed from the digestive epithelium, right? So absorption part, yeah, in the digestive tract. In the perception of stimuli, skin also. Stimuli is perceived. nasal epithelium, tongue, eyes, vision, right? Next one, secretion. Thyroid gland, in glands, and also in the digestive tract, there are goblet cells, they secrete. So there's a secretory function also, right? In the thyroid gland, there's a secretory epithelium. In the digestive tract, there's a secretory cells among the villi and microvilli, obviously. So there are secretory cells. The specific that specific quantity is goblet cells, but they belongs to the epithelium tissue. So the answer is epithelium tissue. Absorption, perception of stimuli, secretion, pressure withstanding, stretching, all those factors come. Filtration, right? In the glomerular, there is a Bowman capsule. In the Bowman capsule, there is epithelium. So ultrafiltration take place at the Bowman capsule. Filtration is also a function of the epithelium tissue. Stretching thing comes at the urinary bladder. When the urine collects, the bladder expands. So there's a stretching function. Question number 30. Deflection is observed in the compass when the switch is on in a circuit shown here. Scientists who put forward the phenomena related to this for the first time. What is the scientist now? Compass is moved when switch is on. What is this? Who is the scientist? Very good. Hans Christian Ørsted. This one is related with electromagnetism, Fleming's left-hand rule. When there is current supply, FMC, force, magnetic field, current. So when there is current lamai and when there is a magnetic field, a force is generated. Because of that force, the compass is moving, the needle is moving. FMC, force, magnetic field, and the current. So current direction, magnetic field direction, current direction, magnetic field direction, current direction, and the force. We can find the force. So Hans Christian Ørsted put forward the theory, but in order to find the direction, we can use Fleming's left-hand rule. So if they're asking, there's a movement, there's a magnetic field, or a magnetic field is changing, then the current is induced. That is electromagnetic induction. Current that is electromagnetic induction. The current is a movement that compass. That is put forward by Hans Christian Ørsted. In the other scenario, Michael Faraday introduced it, electromagnetic induction. When the magnetic field is there and the magnetic field is changing either by the movement of the magnetic, movement by a conductor or any other thing, then the current is induced. That is the induced current means Michael Faraday, Fleming's right hand. 31. The conductor is kept perpendicular to the magnetic field and the current flows out of the plate of the figure. What is the direction of the force acting on the conductor force? Right. Now, tell me to which category this belongs to, electromagnetic induction or just the electromagnetism? I mean, Fleming's left-hand rule or right-hand rule? Left-hand rule or right-hand rule? Magnetic field, north to south. Current out of the plane, so the dot is indicated. This is related to Fleming's left-hand rule. Current එක magnetic field එකේ තියෙනවා force එක හොයනවා කියන්නේ Fleming's left-hand rule. ඔයාලා current එක හොයන්නේ කො direction එක ළමයි definitely that is Fleming's right-hand rule. If you are to find the current, that is Fleming's right-hand rule. If you are to find the motion or the force of the conductor, that is Fleming's left-hand rule. Motion එක හොයනවා left-hand rule, current එක හොයන්නේ කියනවා right-hand rule. Simple as that. Right-hand rule එකත් එක්ක ඉන්න dynamo එක, අරකට එක්ක ඉන්න DC motor එක. එහා පැත්තේ අරකට එක්ක ඉන්න microphone එක, dynamo එකයි microphone එකයි. මේ පැත්තේ ඉන්නේ loudspeaker. Right? DC motor and loudspeaker. Left-hand rule. Right-hand rule එකත් එක්ක ඉන්න ළමයි dynamo එකයි microphone. Main examples. Right. So what is the direction here? North to south is the magnetic field. You can mark that. FMC lamai. F force MC. So magnetic field is acting in this direction. Current is out of the page. Current is coming out of the page. That means towards us. Magnetic field direction, right? Current from the middle finger, current, and then the force is acting upwards. Force is acting upwards. So what is the answer? I applied Fleming left hand rule to find the direction upwards. Simple A direction. Simple A. Simple A direction. North to south is a magnetic field. So magnetic field is indicated as in this. Towards the page, towards us, that is the current, direction of the current, and what is this? Force. Left hand rule. All three fingers are perpendicular to each other. Magnetic field from north to south, right? Current is towards us, and the force is upwards. Force is upwards. (32) Given below are some separation methods of mixture. Method used to extract essential oil. Right. Essential oil means crude, not crude oil. Essential oil means cinnamon oil, cardamom oil. Right. Those are the essential oils. Cardamom oils. Cardamom. Pepper. Essential oils. So essential oils steam distillation is one method, and the other method is here solvent extraction. Solvent extraction also can be taken. Other one is pressure under pressure. Pressure under pressure. In the process of extraction of essential oils, definitely steam distillation, that is correct. Solvent extraction also can be taken in the textbook. I think they have mentioned it. Solvent extraction method, I think they are mentioning solvent extraction method also. So the answer should be A, B, C, O. Main method is steam distillation, but as I remember, they are mentioning steam solvent extraction too. So all three are correct. Huh? All three are correct. Pressure under pressure, yeah. Under suitable pressure, they can be extracted. So steam distillation is correct, solvent extraction is correct, as it and also pressure under pressure, that is also correct. A, B, C all correct. I think pressure is also mentioned in the textbook. I'm not sure about it, but I think pressure thing also, yeah, suitable pressure or something. So steam distillation, solvent extraction, and press under pressure. Press under pressure. Pressing under pressure is also a method of extracting essential oils. Next question, question number 33. Correct treatment about persisting organic pollutants. Right. What is the correct statement? You haven't done it yet. Persistent organic pollutants. POP. What is the correct definition? You can guess it actually. What is the correct one? Not very poisonous is wrong. It is very poisonous. POPs. Get destroyed within short time period. No, they are accumulating. Actually, they are accumulating through food chains. POPs are accumulating through food chains. As in heavy metals, they are accumulating in food chains. So that is the answer. Question number 2. Step number 2. Do not spread over large area. No, they are spreading. They are spreading. So accumulation in living body through food chains is the answer. Question number 34. Components suitable for X and Y in the above energy diagram. What are the components which is suitable? What is this reaction? From X, Y, there is a losing of energy. Energy is released. Energy is released. So if the energy is released, what is the reaction? XO What is the reaction? Exothermic. Energy is released, Lama. So exothermic reaction. So choose the exothermic reaction out of the given. Urea and water and glucose and water both are endothermic reactions. Urea and water plus glucose and water both are endothermic because when the reaction happening, the external environment cools. That means that from the external environment, the temperature or the heat has been absorbed. Magnesium plus hydrochloric acid. Is it true or false? Magnesium plus hydrochloric acid. Exothermic reaction or endothermic reaction? Comment. That is an exothermic reaction. Good. Because citric acid and sodium bicarbonate, even though it is a neutralization reaction, that is an endothermic reaction. I have mentioned it. Right? In the syllabus, they are mentioning that citric acid plus sodium bicarbonate, even though it is a neutralized reaction and both are weak acid and base, the reaction happening is but endothermic, not exothermic, right? Other most all acid-base reactions are exothermic apart from this reaction, citric acid and sodium bicarbonate. Magnesium plus HCl, yeah, it's a very good exothermic reaction. Heat is generated and the heat is expelled from the reaction side. Magnesium chloride, sorry, this is a reaction and heat is emitted. Exothermic reaction. So arrow is coming downwards means energy is released. From the reactants to products, the energy is released. That is why the arrow is coming. 35th one, correct statement about waves. Transverse transverse waves propagate even through air. Through air or along the surface. Transverse waves normally travel along the surface, right? Along the surface, not through. Second one, sound waves are a type of longitudinal waves. That is correct. Sound waves can be longitudinal waves. That is correct. Third one, compressions and rarefactions can be observed in transverse waves. No. Those can be observed in compressions with these, rarefactions with these. So compressions and rarefactions can be observed in longitudinal waves, not in transverse waves. Crest and trough, not in longitudinal waves, but in transverse waves. The upmost parts are the crests, and the downward parts are the troughs. Crest and trough. Crest and troughs. Crest and troughs can be observed in transverse waves, whereas compressions and rarefactions can be observed in longitudinal waves. Sound waves obviously longitudinal waves. Transverse waves normally they are traveling along the surfaces in a guitar string, in a violin string, in a water, rippling. They are traveling along the surface. The 36th one. The electrical energy consumed by the bulb if a bulb with 60 watt is lighted for 1 year. Power equal voltage into current and energy equal power into time. When power is multiplied by the time, we can get the energy. We know that the power is VI, so energy equal VI. We know the power here. What is the power here? 60 watt. What happened? Time period is 1 hour. So we need to convert 1 hour into seconds. So in 1 hour, how many seconds? 60 minutes and 1 minute has 60 seconds. So how many seconds? 3600. So what is the energy carrying out here? 60 into 60 into 69. 60 into 60 into 60 joules. What is the energy? Energy equal power into time. So we know the power is 60. We need to convert hour into 60 into 60. We need to have time, and for 1 minute there are 60 seconds. So the answer is question number 3 for the 36th one. Thirty-seventh one. What would be the apparatus X which turn a light ray as shown in the diagram? Prism. Right angle prism can turn the light ray by 90 degrees. It should be the right prism. It can turn the light ray by 90%. Right angle prism. This is a normal. This is the incident ray alpha. This is the totally internal reflection. Totally internal reflection happens here, and this is the reflected angle. This is the incident angle, and this is the reflected angle, and both are equal because total internal reflection is taking place, and the light ray travels along the normal. That is why the ray is not refracted or either totally internal reflected because it is traveling along the surface. There is no incident angle. So we can turn the light ray by 90 degrees. 90. The graph between time and voltage in an electric current obtained from full wave rectification. Right, full wave rectification, we are using rectification bridge now. 4 diodes. 4 diodes are arranged as in a bridge. Right? 4 diodes are arranged as in a bridge. So this is full wave rectification, rectifier bridge. Normally, we can draw an alternate current as in this. This is an alternate current. By rectification, full rectification, we can rectify even the negative parts of the wave as in positive parts. So all the waves are taken into the upper part, that means the positive part. So all the waves have been taken into one direction. So this is rectification, full wave rectification. If it is asking about the half wave rectification, then there is a gap. Negative parts are not there. Only the positive ones are rectified. But if it is asking about the full wave rectification by a rectifier bridge, then this is the scenario. If they say that the rectified current is smooth, then you can draw as in like this. Then the current never goes to zero. If it is smooth by a capacitor, you can draw this. If it is smooth. What is the answer? Electric current obtained from full wave rectification. Only the full wave rectification answer is true. Answer is true. If it is smoothened, then answer is 3. If the full wave rectified current is smoothened, how hondana smooth karna me capacitor එකක් දාලා එහෙම වුණත් උත්තරේ එන්නේ 3. smooth කළොත් capacitor එකක් දාලා smooth කරන්න නැහැ කියලා කිව්වොත් උත්තරේ 2. පළවෙනි එක obviously alternate current and fourth one half wave rectification without smoothing. Smooth කරන්න නැති half wave rectification එකක් fourth one. 39. Bank of a lake can be continuously ended due to erosion water waves. The mechanism used in a lake to prevent this. What is the mechanism? You should know. History. Third one may diagram third one half wave rectified smooth. මම ඒක දැක්කේ නෑ මම දැක්කේ ඔක්කොම මේ වේව්ස් ටික තියෙනවා චුට්ට third one එක පොඩ්ඩක් මේ zoom කරලා පෙන්නන්න. ඒක half wave smooth නා මම ඇඳ diagram හරි. මට එතන පොඩ්ඩක් පේනවා මදියා. third one එක මම ඇඳ එක හරි මෙන්න මේකට මැච් වෙන්න තියෙනවා මේ half wave rectified smooth. මෙහෙම එකක් නෙමෙයි තියෙන්නේ. මම දැක්කේ මෙහෙම එකක් වගේ පේන්නේ නෑ ඒක. බොහොම මේ ලාව නැන්දලා තියෙන diagram මම ෆෝන් එක බලන්න කරා. So third one I explained it correctly. But actually in this diagram the third one is correct. Is correspond with half wave rectified smooth current. This one. This is full wave rectified smooth. I explained it correctly, but I mistakenly saw the third one as this. Third one is indicated as this, not this. Right? Anyway, the answer won't change. The answer is 2. They are asking just a full wave rectification without smoothing. Right. Question number 39. What is the answer? Kalapana. Right. Good. You can write that using your history knowledge. Right. Kalapana. Kalapana is used in order to prevent the erosion. That's the easy one. Question number 40. An important measure to be followed to prevent from the recent fast spreading microbial infection. What is the important measure? First one, discuss about infectious condition frequently with others. No point. No point in discussions about from being responsible. Next one, use medicine frequently, which is no. Medicinal things are done. Considering COVID-19, medicinal things come almost last. Preventive measures are the most important. Hand washing, personal hygiene, maintaining, those are the most important things. Wearing mask. Third one, be knowledgeable about microorganisms cause infection. We are almost all the citizens in Sri Lanka, all the citizens in worldwide are knowledgeable. But the thing is, they are not implementing it correctly. So implementing or enhancing the personal hygiene comes the first. When you touch something dirty, make sure to wash the hands. Wear mask at the public. So those are the things that should be prioritized. So in here, what is the answer? Beware of personal hygiene consistently. That is the answer. Beware. You need to wash your hands with soap, and you need to wear a mask. All the preventive measures should be taken. So the ideal scenario is preventive measures should be taken as in hand washing. Hand washing is the utmost important thing, not wearing mask. If the other question paper asks, what is the most important thing in order to prevent COVID-19? To me, first one is hand washing, second one is social distancing, third one is wearing mask. Now, wearing mask comes third. Then the other measures. So hand washing is the utmost important thing. Then the social distancing thing. Now social distancing is not prevalent in Sri Lanka because the COVID-19 is almost over. Hand washing actually not prevent COVID-19, but almost all other viral diseases will be prevented by hand washing. Right. So with that, the discussion of the Western Province paper concludes. Right, stop the recording.